Hi there, this is Mr. Tush, and I am talking to students today about pseudocode and what it is and why it is we use it and how we use it. Well, pseudocode is notation that we put usually on a pencil and paper. It represents computer code. But what we write won't actually run a computer, but it does help us sketch out the logic we need to use so that the computer will do what we want it to do. We already wrote one app, actually we've written a couple, but the first app we wrote programmed a tablet to show an alert and say something using text to speech. And so here is what we got.
I love mobile CSP.
It was a fairly simple app, and the pseudocode, had we written pseudocode before that app, we would have written the following. When the button is clicked, show an alert message, hello world, and then play text to speech that says I love mobile CSP. It's pretty straightforward. When we wrote it in App Inventor, that's what we wrote. We sketched this out and we wrote exactly that using the App Inventor language. Here's the notifier, shows hello world, and here's the text to speech that shows I love mobile CSP. When we got to I have a dream, it became a little more complicated. For example, we had to say when the Dr. King button is clicked, we knew that we would have to pause the Malcolm X button. So we told it to pause the Malcolm X button. And then we had to run an if-then-else statement. So we said, if Dr. King's player is playing, then pause it. Otherwise, play Dr. King's button, Dr. King's player. So that's what we wrote. And then when we wrote our code, we just followed that logic. We had to call the button, and then we ran our if-then-else statement. Remember, we had to use that blue gear to use the mutator to add the else to the if-thens. And we did all of that when we wrote that logic. And what we got was this.
I have a dream. Name?
As far as I'm concerned, it's my legal name.
My four little children.
So as you could see, the Dr. King button toggled on and off, and if the Malcolm X player was playing, clicking Dr. King's button would silence the Malcolm X player. We wrote the exact same code as it related to Malcolm X, so if he was speaking and Dr. King was also speaking, the Malcolm X button would silence the Dr. King button. So I'm going to give you a challenge to see if you can write your own pseudocode. I want you, on your own, just remembering the logic that you've learned here, pause the video and write the pseudocode. Have a button with an image play a song. So we're just going to write the pseudocode that we need to put in the Blockly language to be able to tell a button to play a song and to silence all the others. Now we're back, and I'm going to show you what I wrote in my pseudocode and give you a reminder. So you hopefully wrote when button 1 is clicked, there's your control. The first thing you're going to do is to tell it to pause all other buttons. And for now you can write all other buttons because you don't necessarily have all your buttons written out, or you haven't necessarily traced all that together. And then if you're going to tell it if player 1 is playing, run an if-then statement. Have it evaluate the player 1 and say if player 1 is playing, pause it. Otherwise, play it. So if it's off, it'll turn on, and if it's on, it'll turn off. And I'm just going to give you a reminder that with most players, make sure the player has a sound assigned to it. Probably one of the most common errors that we see in this programming and these soundboard types of apps is that people forget to assign sounds to their players. Best of luck to you, and thanks for watching.